In a world where your attention is constantly stolen by notifications, social media, and even your own thoughts, focusing on yourself feels impossible. But what if I told you that ancient Buddhist wisdom holds the key to regaining control of your mind? These 7 profound lessons will not only help you focus, but also transform the way you live, think, and see yourself. 1. The empty cup. Make space for growth. A young monk eagerly approached his wise master and said, "Teach me everything you know." The master, without a word, took a teapot and began pouring tea into the monk's cup. The tea filled the cup to the brim, but the master kept pouring. The liquid overflowed, spilling onto the table, then onto the floor. The monk, confused and alarmed, exclaimed, "Master, stop! The cup is already full. It can't hold any more." The master gently smiled and said, "Like this cup, your mind is already full. How can I teach you if you refuse to empty it first?" This simple yet profound lesson carries deep wisdom. We often carry so much baggage in our minds, beliefs we've outgrown, fears that no longer serve us, and habits that keep us stuck. We fill ourselves with opinions, assumptions, and expectations, leaving no room for fresh perspectives, new learning, or personal growth. Think about it. How many times have you clung to past mistakes, replaying them over and over as if that would change them? How often do you enter a situation assuming you already know everything, leaving no space for a different way of thinking? The more we hold on to, the less room we have for growth. Growth starts with unlearning. If you truly want to improve, the first step isn't adding more knowledge, it's making space for it. It means questioning the beliefs that have shaped you. It means letting go of the fear that keeps you from trying something new. It means understanding that the world is constantly changing, and if you refuse to change with it, you'll be left behind. One of the easiest ways to practice this is to start your day with a clear mind. Before you dive into social media, before you check emails, before you let the outside world fill your head with distractions, pause. Take a deep breath and remind yourself that today is a new page. Yesterday's mistakes, yesterday's stress, yesterday's worries, they don't have to follow you into today unless you let them. When you enter a conversation, listen more than you speak. Approach every experience with curiosity, not certainty. Instead of assuming you know everything about yourself, ask, "What can I learn today that I didn't know before?" An overflowing cup cannot hold anything new. If you truly want to grow, first you must make space. 2. The candle that lights others. Protect your energy. There is an old Buddhist saying, "Thousands of candles can be lit from a single candle, and its flame will not be diminished." It reminds us that kindness and generosity don't take away from what we have. They can spread endlessly. But here's something most people overlook. If the original candle burns out, there's no flame left to share. Many people believe that selflessness means giving everything to others, your time, your energy, your attention. You listen to everyone's problems, you offer help whenever someone asks, and you try to be there for everyone. But over time, something happens. You start feeling drained, exhausted, and overwhelmed. The more you give, the less you have left for yourself. You feel guilty taking a break, but deep inside, you know you're running on empty. Imagine a tree that gives shade to others. If it doesn't receive water and sunlight, it withers away. The same goes for you. You cannot help others if you are exhausted, mentally drained, or emotionally broken. True generosity isn't about giving everything away, it's about giving from a place of strength. And that means you must take care of yourself first. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking that self-care is selfish. It's not. In fact, taking care of yourself allows you to give more, not less. If you're rested, you'll have more energy. If you're happy, you'll spread more positivity. If you're at peace, you'll uplift others naturally. The first step to protecting your energy is setting boundaries. Learn to say no when something drains you. If someone constantly brings negativity into your life, limit your time with them. If you're always the one people turn to for help, but no one supports you in return, it's okay to step back. It's not your job to fix everyone. The second step is refueling yourself. Do things that restore your energy, whether it's reading, meditating, spending time alone, or doing something you love. Find moments of peace in your day, even if it's just 5 minutes of silence. When your inner world is strong, you naturally become a light for others without burning yourself out. Taking care of yourself isn't about ignoring others, it's about making sure you have enough to give. When your own flame is strong, you don't just light 1 or 2 candles, you can light up the whole room. 3. The 1,000 arrows. Stop suffering twice. Imagine walking through a peaceful forest when, out of nowhere, an arrow strikes you in the arm. The sharp pain shocks you, but before you even have time to process it, you take another arrow and stab yourself in the same wound. Sounds crazy, right? Why would anyone do that to themselves? But this is exactly what happens in our minds every single day. The first arrow is life itself. Challenges, failures, disappointments, and things that happen beyond your control. Maybe someone insults you, a plan falls apart, or an opportunity slips through your fingers. These things hurt, and that's natural. But instead of simply acknowledging the pain and moving forward, most people fire a second arrow at themselves. They start overthinking. Why did this happen to me? I should have done things differently. What if things never get better? What if I'm not good enough? That second arrow is what causes the real suffering. The first pain is temporary, but the second arrow, your reaction, can last for days, months, or even years. It turns a small wound into a deep scar. This is why some people can move on quickly from setbacks, while others stay stuck in the past, reliving their pain over and over. Next time life throws something difficult at you, stop and ask yourself, am I making this worse by how I'm thinking about it? Instead of getting lost in negative thoughts, simply acknowledge what happened. Take a deep breath and remind yourself, this moment is painful, but it doesn't have to control me. If you can avoid firing that second arrow, you will feel lighter, stronger, and more in control of your own life. 4. The silent monk. Speak less, listen more. There was once a young man who traveled far to seek wisdom from a renowned Buddhist master. He had a habit of speaking constantly, eager to prove how much he already knew. When he finally sat before the master, he asked, "What is the key to inner peace and wisdom?" The master smiled and simply said, "Silence." Confused, the young man asked again, expecting a deeper explanation. But the master remained silent. Minutes passed, and the air grew heavy with stillness. Finally, the young man spoke again, "Why won't you answer me?" The master chuckled and said, "Your cup is too full. You are too busy speaking to hear anything of value." The young man suddenly realized something powerful. He had spent his entire life talking, but had rarely ever listened. Most people do this without realizing it. They fill every moment with words, noise, and distractions, rarely allowing themselves the space to absorb true wisdom. But silence is where clarity is found. The more you speak, the more your energy is scattered. The more you listen, the more you grow. Think about the last conversation you had. Were you truly listening, or were you just waiting for your turn to speak? Many people don't actually hear what others are saying. They're too busy planning their response, forming opinions, or letting their minds drift. But when you learn to truly listen, everything changes. Silence teaches patience. It sharpens your awareness. It allows you to observe what is truly happening instead of being caught in the noise of your own thoughts. Even in daily life, mastering silence can give you an edge. Have you ever noticed that the most powerful people in a room don't talk the most? They observe. They choose their words carefully, and when they finally speak, people listen. Speaking less doesn't mean saying nothing, it means making your words count. Before you speak, ask yourself, is this necessary? Is this helpful? Does this add value? If the answer is no, let silence do the work instead. To practice this, try spending a few minutes each day in complete silence. No phone, no distractions, just stillness. When talking to others, resist the urge to interrupt. Listen with your full attention. And most importantly, become comfortable with quiet moments. The more you embrace silence, the more you will notice its power. A monk once said, "Silence is not empty, it is full of answers." If you truly want to focus on yourself and master your mind, learn to listen more and speak only when it truly matters. 5. The raft. Let go of what no longer serves you. A weary traveler once came upon a wide and dangerous river. The current was strong, the waters unpredictable, and there was no bridge in sight. Determined to cross, he gathered logs and vines, carefully crafting a raft. With great effort he paddled across, struggling against the waves, but eventually he reached the other side. Exhausted but victorious, he looked back at the river and thought about how much the raft had helped him. He felt gratitude toward it, believing it had saved his life. Then, as he prepared to continue his journey, he made an odd decision. He picked up the heavy raft and strapped it to his back. With each step, the weight dragged him down. His shoulders ached, his legs trembled, and soon every movement became difficult. What had once been his greatest tool had now become his greatest burden. Yet, he refused to leave it behind. This story is a powerful lesson about life. Many of us carry old burdens, past relationships, outdated beliefs, painful memories or regrets, things that once helped us but are now holding us back. We cling to them because they feel familiar, because we once relied on them, or because we're afraid to move on without them. But just like the traveler's raft, carrying unnecessary weight will only slow you down. Think about the things you're holding on to. Maybe it's a past mistake you keep replaying in your mind. Maybe it's a toxic relationship that drains your energy. Maybe it's fear of failure, stopping you from taking the next step. These things served a purpose once. They taught you lessons, helped you grow. But if they no longer serve you, why are you still carrying them? Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means freeing yourself from unnecessary weight so you can move forward with ease. It means understanding that some things were only meant to be part of your journey for a certain time, not forever. But how do you let go? Start by recognizing what is no longer helping you. Ask yourself, is this adding to my life or draining me? If it's no longer serving you, acknowledge it. Thank it for the role it played, and release it. You don't have to carry the past into your future. Buddhists teach that attachment is the root of suffering. The tighter you hold on to something that is meant to be released, the more you struggle. But when you let go, you create space for new growth, new experiences, and new peace. Imagine how light you would feel if you dropped the weight of the past. Imagine walking freely, without the burden of unnecessary pain. The traveler only found true freedom when he realized he no longer needed the raft. And you will only move forward when you stop carrying what no longer serves you. 6. The finger pointing at the moon. Don't get lost in the path. There was once a devoted student who sought enlightenment. He traveled far to learn from a great Buddhist master, eager to absorb every teaching, every technique, and every sacred text. One night, the master took him outside under the open sky. The full moon shone brightly, casting its glow over the landscape. The master raised his finger and pointed toward it. The moon represents truth, wisdom, and the ultimate purpose of your journey, he said. And my finger? It is merely a guide. The student nodded, staring intently at the master's finger. He examined it closely, trying to understand its significance. He focused on its position, its angle, its movement, completely missing the moon itself. The master laughed gently. "Do not mistake the finger for the moon," he said. "Do not get lost in the path and forget the destination." This lesson is one of the most profound in Buddhism, yet so many people fall into this trap. They become obsessed with methods, rituals, and self-improvement techniques, but forget why they started in the first place. They get caught up in the details, chasing perfection in meditation, memorizing books, or following routines so rigidly that they forget the ultimate goal: growth, wisdom, and inner peace. Think about how often this happens in daily life. Someone wants to get in shape, so they spend weeks researching workout plans, buying the best gym clothes, and watching endless videos, but they never actually start exercising. Someone wants to be more mindful, so they read dozens of books on meditation, but never sit in silence for even 5 minutes. The finger is necessary, it helps point the way, but if you spend all your time staring at the finger, you will never see the moon. To truly focus on yourself, you must remember the purpose behind everything you do. Why do you want to improve? Why do you seek wisdom? The answer isn't in books, courses, or complex techniques. It's in your actions. It's in the moments when you apply what you've learned. If you ever find yourself lost in routines, but feeling no real progress, ask yourself, am I staring at the finger? Or am I looking at the moon? Simplicity is often the answer. If you want to be at peace, stop complicating your journey. If you want clarity, stop chasing endless techniques and start living what you already know. The path is important, but it is not the destination. The ultimate goal is not the practice itself, it is the transformation that comes from it. The moon is waiting. Don't get lost in the pointing finger. 7. The 86,400 gold coins. Use your time wisely. Imagine waking up one morning to find that someone has deposited 86,400 gold coins into your bank account. The only rule, you must spend every single coin before midnight. Whatever you don't use will disappear, and the next day, you'll receive another 86,400 coins, no more, no less. At first, you'd be excited, right? You'd carefully decide how to use every coin. You wouldn't waste them on meaningless things or let them slip away unnoticed. You'd invest them in what truly matters, things that bring you value, happiness, and growth. Now, here's the reality. Every single day, you are gifted 86,400 seconds. That is your time. That is your life's currency. But unlike gold coins, once time is gone, it never comes back. And yet, how many people waste these precious seconds? They scroll endlessly on their phones, get trapped in negativity, procrastinate on their dreams, and trade their priceless moments for things that don't even matter. Imagine if you truly saw your time as gold. Would you still waste hours overthinking things that don't serve you? Would you still let distractions steal your focus? Would you still spend your precious minutes worrying about what others think? The difference between those who succeed and those who remain stuck isn't luck, intelligence, or talent. It's how they spend their time. The most successful people in history, whether it's Buddha, great philosophers, or modern-day leaders, were given the same 24 hours as you. The only difference? They used their time intentionally. If you want to focus on yourself and master your life, you must guard your time like you would guard treasure. Every second is a choice. You can use it to build your future or let it slip away into nothingness. But how do you make sure your time is spent wisely? First, eliminate what drains your time. Notice what steals your focus. Is it social media, gossip, regret over the past? Remove what doesn't add value. If it doesn't help you grow, it's stealing your seconds. Second, prioritize what truly matters. Imagine you only had 1 year left to live. What would you spend your time doing? Who would you invest in? What would you create? That's where your time should be going now. Lastly, protect your energy. Time and energy go hand in hand. It's not just about having time, it's about having the energy to use it well. Take care of yourself, surround yourself with the right people, and focus on what fills your soul. At the end of your life, you will look back and see how you spent your moments. Will you be proud of how you used them? Or will you wish you had valued them more? You wake up every morning with 86,400 seconds. That's 86,400 opportunities. Use them wisely, because once today is gone, you'll never get it back. Mastering your focus isn't about doing more, it's about being intentional with your energy, your time, and your mind. These 7 Buddhist lessons aren't just ideas, they are keys to unlocking a life where you are in control, not your distractions, not your past, and not the opinions of others. Imagine waking up every day with clarity, knowing exactly where your energy should go. Imagine moving through life without carrying unnecessary burdens, without getting lost in endless distractions, without wasting precious time. That kind of focus isn't reserved for monks or spiritual masters. It's available to you right now. But here's the truth. Nothing changes unless you apply what you've learned. The wisdom is here, but the action is up to you. So, which lesson will you start practicing today? Drop it in the comments, and let's build a community of people committed to focusing on what truly matters, themselves. Your journey to mastery starts now.